episode 21.
Protect your neck.
I'll take that.
See, when it's this way, we don't even know if it started yet. But
Started.
I think we're live now.
It started. Yeah. I will take this.
Very
All
good.
right, so welcome. Happy New Year. Happy 2019. We decided that we're going to talk about maybe some issues up here. So it says protect your neck, but really it could be your neck or your shoulders, because what I find is that if you're 40 years old and doing Kung Fu, you probably have another job. Like your parents probably aren't paying for you to do Kung Fu, and you're not, you're not just showing up after waking up and doing stuff, right?
If you have questions, please type them in. I still can see the screen. Okay,
Yeah. So that's where we're starting with.
the neck area.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but why is the neck important for Kung Fu? So usually we've talked about kicking and punching and strength, but actually we talk about one of the most important things is where your eye line is and where you're looking and your ability to know where you're headed, look before you do a defense or an attack, right? And a lot of times I've noticed some of the students in a particular stance don't actually have the mobility or range to actually look over their shoulder.
Right.
Even if we're looking to turn before doing a move where it's going in the opposite direction. Or of course there's the big Luigi Ma, which is the lady horse stance, where a lot of that is the hip, but also even just people like can't look over that shoulder. Like we're supposed to be in nice lines. So I think it's a lot more important than we give it credit for.
Yeah. So a lot of people they hold a lot of stress there, but as you mentioned, the beautiful thing about Kung Fu is that you get to move around in all these different planes of motion.
Mm-hmm.
The tough part about that is that you have to move through a lot of different planes of motion, if you take the martial aspect of doing things, the priority should be look, see where you're going, defend, then attack. Or it could be look and attack. But you can't just defend or attack without looking, right? Because you want to use your eyes first.
Yeah.
Your
Awareness.
eyes will kind of direct where your head goes, your head will direct where your body goes. If you can't move your head in a certain direction, then it's going to affect all the movements of the rest of your body. So that's why we decided, 40 years old, you probably might have had some issues there.
Yeah, and you're possibly at a desk all day,
Mm-hmm.
and that already puts you in kind of a position where your neck is more at risk for
Right.
pain or for lack of motion, and just, I don't think, there's some things I think you can do throughout the day. We always talk about this mobility warm-up in the morning, but I mean, even if you're at your desk, there's stuff that you can do, there's tools that you have at home, and Oscar's going to educate you all on all these fun things that you can do while you're at your desk.
So the first thing we talked about last time is how to work on your posture throughout the day. If that's all you do, you're going to have huge improvements in your overall range of motion and your mobility and any kind of discomfort you have in this area, because just having all this pulling down on you and then working on it and having to massage your way through it, you're kind of doing double the work. So if you're able to start focusing on the video we did last time, which had a little part on posture and positioning of your upper body, that's going to help out tremendously. But let's just say that you didn't do that and you showed up to class and you're ready to do your exercises. Well, one of the first things that you can do is start slowing down and taking care of your breathing, because your breathing will bring down the sympathetic nervous system, which will then kind of regulate the way that your tissues are. It'll take what we call some of this tonic tightness of the tissue can help be regulated just by breathing, taking deep breaths first. Then the second thing is some nice tools. Now, I have this is called a tiger tail, but honestly, you can buy for much cheaper
Rolling pin.
a rolling pin. And Sifu
Or
George
steal one
from
from the kitchen.
Yeah, steal one from the kitchen, right? And he was like, I used his rolling pin, and it works just as good or even better than this. But the way that this will work, and I'll use it on
Yes,
the
please do, because I have a lot of tension.
is 2 fingers of tension. So I'll demonstrate how you would use it on your partner or a friend or your Kung Fu brother or sister, and then also how you can do it on yourself. So 2 fingers of tension, and then I like to cover a pretty big surface area for about 10 reps or more. And
More.
right, and there's no wrong way to do it unless you feel pain. You gotta realize that sometimes when you've got knots that there will be discomfort when you're trying to roll some things out. And what this is doing, it's kind of just bringing some fluid into the tissue, getting the elasticity of it to move a little bit. So it's almost like when you take Play-Doh. If you remember Play-Doh back in the day, we took it out and we messed around with it and we're able to manipulate it. Yeah, manipulate it a little bit more. So that's kind of how you do it. If someone is there to do it for you, it's definitely much better.
Much better.
Right? Because you're not putting your body in these weird positions. If you have to do it yourself, again, you don't want to like grind too hard, but you take and find the area and you just roll up or down. The benefit of you doing it yourself, obviously, is that you're able to find where there's a little bit of a tension point and maybe move your head through different ranges of motion. So we could spend the whole class just doing this and it may feel great, but the purpose of it is to get a little bit of fluid and get some.
How does it go again?
To get some fluid going into it. That's one option. If you have any type of lacrosse ball is my tool of choice. Tennis ball will work just as well. Even like a baseball or a softball. Something that's round works really well because it rolls. Yeah. And then the nice thing though with a lacrosse ball is because of its kind of rubbery surface, it can kind of grip your skin a little bit and
give you a little bit of friction.
It gives you just a little bit of friction. So in the same way that we worked with the rolling pin, if you use a ball, you would just find some areas, roll it, move it around, find a doorway. I think this will still come through where I kind of put a little bit of pressure, move my head up and down side to side. And a lot of times we get tension right here below the collarbone, below your clavicle. So you can, your scalenes, thank you. And so you can take the ball and find right below that bone, take one hand and use the other hand to help kind of push across. I'm not a real big fan of like pressing super hard where you're trying to get a lot of pain. What I want to do is for you to search, like you're scanning your body, find maybe a point of tension, breathe into it, move your neck, see if that helps. The breathing and the move and getting some kind of release will help start it. And then, huge surprise for everyone is to take your joints through their full range of motion with some circles.
It's really weird. You want us to do joint circles?
You do some joint circles. The reason we do the other stuff first is because if you come in really stiff, sometimes a little bit of that can help ease that. But even if you don't have this and you start with a little bit of breathing and then take your joints to their full range of motion, maybe by that fifth circle, your range of motion will continuously be improving. So those are some ways to get your neck moving around before you start class.
Right.
Or like if you're just coming from work and then you were driving like this, and then you jump into class and you're like, I don't know why I'm not moving well. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people always tell me, oh, I slept really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I sleep badly as well. Any issues that we've had, this will be a big surprise as well, is because of the demand that has been imposed on that tissue. And so if you slept like this for 6 hours, and then you wake up and you're like, man, I don't know what's wrong with my neck. Well, it's probably because of the way you slept. But if you do some mobility work before going to bed, and then as soon as you get up out of bed, and we're not talking about a ton of time, we're talking about just a couple of minutes before going to bed and when you wake up.
3 deep breaths.
Let's say you've got neck issues. You always have neck issues. Right before to bed, big breath. Make your big neck circle. Let's say that's 1, but you go 3 to 5 reps each direction, and then you go to bed. Then you wake up in the morning, same thing. 3 big breaths, 3 circles in each direction. Yeah. And then you think about, let me work and think about my posture throughout the day so that I am not continuously putting negative inputs into this tissue. I'm putting positive inputs into the tissue.
That's good advice.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, if you do that, then you'll be better prepared for Kung Fu, and as we said before, your head is going to lead your body in most instances.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Like we always keep telling you guys during class, I follow your hands, make sure you know where you're going, look before you turn, look before you're doing a new direction, and you know, it makes sense, right? If someone's throwing a punch at you, you're not just going to be like, I can feel the presence of the punch and block, right?
Well, it depends. If you just saw The Last Dragon, and and you got the glow,
The glow?
then it's
All right.
definitely...
Well, you got the glow, you got the glow.
You got the glow, you got the glow.
But basically, you know, use your senses, right? So, of course, the eyes being one of them. And we can maybe attack all the senses, you know, sometime else during this podcast, you know, especially for Kung Fu practitioners, you know, your internal and external elements. What are they? All right, maybe next time. But of course, your eyes being one of them. You know, your feet, your hands, body, technique, right? So the eyes, we thought today would be really important for you guys to think about looking where you're going, but we thought addressing kind of the neck issue, because everybody always kind of walks around like this, or like says they have pain, or I've noticed during, like I said, some of those stances where people are trying to look over, and then they end up actually impinging something because they're really, you know, trying to do it too quickly or like overstretching it. So you want to do those joint warm-ups like Oscar showed you. You have a rolling pin or a ball at home, really great tools.
If you don't have if you don't have either,
then you can take your partner's hand or friend and be like, okay, right here. Yeah.
That's actually exactly what I was going to say. So let's say you're lucky enough to have someone do this for you. Obviously that's awesome. But if you don't, don't be afraid. You know your body better than anyone else does. So don't be afraid to kind of take your hand and gently try to find points and then move around them, always thinking that you're trying to move pain-free. And you'd really be surprised by just you doing certain things to yourself. You're not trying to manipulate anything, or you're not trying to like adjust something, but by breathing, taking your joints through the full range of motion, maybe even taking your hands and feeling, so you know, this is my cervical neck here, coming up here. I can take my finger and go right to the side of one of those vertebrae, and I do this all the time, and I kind of push my spine, my neck, into it. So if my right hand is on my neck, I'm moving my head to the left, which is pushing my neck out to the side, and I can go one vertebrae at a time.
It's like exploring.
You're exploring. Yeah. So really the purpose of this is always the thing that you're never completely out of options. You're never completely hopeless. You can take things into your own hands and start moving in the right direction. And just remember also that whatever you do has consequences, but also whatever you don't do has consequences, right? And words kind of matter. So if you're coming in and always saying, I've got neck issues, well, you should ask yourself, well, what am I doing to help myself? And so this is one way to kind of step in that direction. Obviously, if you've got blown out discs and severe issues, go see your doctor. but if, you know, if you're just if you know deep down, like, well, I sit down at a desk all day, I sleep poorly, I don't really do any joint mobility, I show up to my Kung Fu class once or twice a week, and I'm not moving as well as I should, well, you're kind of not preparing your body for things that you're hopefully loving to do. So.
Yeah, and you know, since this is technically our first real podcast of the new year, if you didn't watch the one we pre-recorded, we posted it. It's also on our YouTube channel, but we did talk about that intention for the new year. So like Oscar just said, you know, instead of labeling like you have this ongoing issue and it's so horrible in my neck all the time, or whatever it may be, you know, kind of just reframe your mind and take 2019 to just like work towards, you know, self-care and positive thought, and just kind of taking yourself and going, well, if this is bothering me, this is the year I'm going to actually fix that and do something about it, and you'll feel a lot better actually.
Yeah, and
you'll feel better
on my Facebook page, on the Control Your Health Facebook page, but also on the Wah Lum Films YouTube channel, there is a channel for Control Your Health, and on there's 2 videos that was broken down 30 days to better shoulders. But really it's like, think about all this, right? This whole area. And if you look through that, there's 1-minute videos times 30, so 31-minute videos. I kind of put them together into two 15-minute blocks. And if you look through, you might find something there that if you just try it out, may give you a little bit of relief from some of the issues that you're having and prepare you better for your next class. So
sounds good.
Yep.
All right, so if you have questions, remember we are here for you guys, especially if those of you who are in that 40 and up group, or anybody. We're not going to discriminate, but we're here to help give you guys some tips, because Those of you who are just now joining us, or it's the first time you've ever seen this podcast, we started this because basically as we age, we realize things are changing with our bodies and our mind and how we kind of progress and the different things that we're feeling, and we wanted to kind of take that journey with you and let you know you're not alone. Like, yes, things get tweaky, you do have to warm up a little longer than you did before, and things do get more challenging, but it's by no means a reason to quit or not be encouraged. That Kung Fu and Tai Chi and martial arts in general and fitness is absolutely something that you can do as you age and should do as you age. So, you know, with help, you can have your friend or partner keep you in shape and make it a joint effort.
Wow, that's a double entendre. Joint effort. Well done. Well done.
All right, thanks for joining us on 14 Fit Fu. We are here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please give us comments, feedback, questions. Let us know what you want to hear more about so that we can kind of plan each week and answer all your questions and hopefully help you guys out. So keep training.
All right, happy 2019.
Happy 2019. Bye.